Good morning, everyone, and a happy morning to all the students of TSMS. Once again, I welcome you all for the chemistry webinar. And dear children, it's the time for 16th group elements. In our previous sessions, Mrs. Madhavi, PGT Chemistry from TSMS Kudur, have explained you regarding the 15th group elements, isn't it? So today, ma'am is again here to explain you regarding the 16th group elements. See children, what are the 6A group elements or 16th group elements? Oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium and polonium. And do you want to know? A new element has been introduced into this family. That is the chalcogens family. And these 16th group elements are also known as chalcogens. See, what is the meaning of chalcogens? Ore forming elements, right? So in every ore, almost all you can find any one of these elements. For example, pitch blende, which is the ore of uranium, U3O8, PBS, galena, cinnabar, HGS. See, what are these elements? So these are the 16th group elements, oxygen and sulfur, isn't it? So this chapter will be very interesting, children. So please write down the notes. And Madhvi ma'am has given many lessons to you. So she has started with electrochemistry, and then she winded it with 15th group elements. And today ma'am is again here to explain you regarding the 16th group elements. See, it's my privilege to welcome Madhvi ma'am. So good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. So I'm very happy that you are sharing the burden, like not the burden. So it's our responsibility and our utmost duty to teach
My
these
pleasure, ma'am.
students.
It's my pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, ma'am. Thank you so much.
And you are putting lot of efforts to make this webinar a successful one. So thank you, Madhvi ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, please disable screen sharing.
No, ma'am, it's not visible. You
One
start
second, madam.
sharing the screen, ma'am.
1 second.
Yeah, now you can share, ma'am.
Yep.
Madhvi ma'am, you can share the screen.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah. Good morning,
Yes.
everyone. A warm welcome to Telangana Model School webinars for the intermediate second year. Children, P block elements already we have started, children. So this is the 6th chapter in your syllabus. So 15 group elements already we have discussed. So in this session, we are going to discuss about 16 group elements. Okay, 15 group elements already previous sessions we have discussed. So let us see 16 group elements. Okay, so let us have a review. Introduction. So in that we are going to discuss about physical properties and atomic properties, chemical properties of 16 group elements, and after that dioxygen. So preparation, properties and uses of dioxygen we are going to discuss. Simple oxides. So next, after that, ozone. In that, we'll discuss about the preparation, properties and uses of ozone. And after that, the sulfur allotropic forms. So sulfur dioxide. So preparation of sulfur dioxide, properties and uses of sulfur dioxide we'll discuss. And oxo acids of sulfur. In that, sulfuric acid preparation, properties and uses of sulfuric acid. So these are the subtopics that are in 16 group elements, children. Okay, So now let us see, in today's session, we are going to cover these subtopics, means occurrence of these 16 group elements, atomic properties. In atomic properties, electronic configuration, atomic and ionic radii, ionization enthalpy, electron gain enthalpy, electronegativity. So these subtopics we are going to discuss in atomic properties, and after that physical properties of 16 group elements we'll discuss, and the chemical properties, in that oxidation states and trends in chemical reactivity, reactivity towards hydrogen, reactivity towards oxygen and halogens. So these subtopics we are going to cover in this session. Okay, so let us have a introduction of these 16 group elements. So before going to 16 group elements, let us revise. So children, you are familiar with this figure, is it not? It is a long form of periodic table or modern periodic table. It consists of 7 periods and 18 groups. So left hand side S block elements and right hand side P block elements, and in between S block and P block we have D block elements. So at the bottom of the periodic table, F block elements are present. But our concentration is on P block elements, is it not? Because our topic is P block elements. So in that, P block consists of total 6 groups. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18 groups. So children, 13 and 14 group elements you have learned in first year. Okay, so 15 group, we have already covered this in a previous sessions. Now our concentration is on 16 group elements. So what are 16 group elements? Oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium, and a new element, that is livermorium, LV, livermorium. So these are the 16 group elements. Now let us see. So these are 16 group elements: oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium and livermorium. 116th element is livermorium, new element. So children, here in this figure, the atomic numbers of these 16 group elements are given. Oxygen atomic number is 8, sulfur atomic number is 16, and selenium 34, tellurium is 52, and polonium is 84, and livermorium is 116. So below it, what are the symbols of these atoms for 16 group? So oxygen, sulfur, oxygen is represented with O, sulfur is represented with S, and selenium is represented with the Se, and tellurium is represented with the Te, and polonium is with the Po, and livermorium is LV. Okay, so first letter should be capital and second letter should be small. So all these things you know, children. Okay, so at the bottom of these symbols, the atomic masses of these elements are also mentioned, and their outer electronic configuration is also mentioned. So let us discuss these elements in detail. Okay, so introduction. So children, already we know that 16 group consists of oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium and livermorium. Okay, so their symbols also we know: for oxygen O, for sulfur S, for selenium Se, for tellurium Te, for polonium PO and livermorium LV. Okay, right? So these are 16 group elements. So 16 group elements are also known as chalcogens. So what is meant by chalcogen? Chalcogens are nothing but, so this name is derived from Greek word, okay, Greek word for brass. So if you consider brass, it is made up of copper plus zinc, is it not? So copper, so most of the minerals of copper, it consists of oxygen and or sulfur, and frequently the other members of the group. So that's why these elements are called as chalcogens. Okay, maximum minerals that consist of oxygen or sulfur. That's why these are called as chalcogens. 16 group elements are called as chalcogens, right? Now coming to the occurrence of these elements. So first one, oxygen. So oxygen is the most abundant of all the elements on the earth. So what is the most abundant element? Oxygen is the most abundant element of all the elements on earth. Oxygen forms about 46.6% by mass of Earth crust. Okay, Earth crust 46.6% by mass is having oxygen only, right? Dry air contains 20.946% oxygen by volume. So it is nearly equal to 21%. So 21% of volume of air is nothing but oxygen only. Okay. So next, coming to sulfur, the abundance of sulfur in the earth crust is only 0.03 to 0.1%. Okay, combined sulfur exists primarily as sulfates. So this sulfur, so 0.03 to 0.1% is present in earth crust. No, so it occurs in the form of sulfates. So you can see some examples of sulfates. Gypsum, that is very important compound, is it not? So calcium sulfate 2H2O, gypsum. Okay, from this only plaster of Paris is prepared, is it not? So gypsum, calcium sulfate 2H2O, and barite, so BaSO4, and Epsom salt, magnesium sulfate 7H2O. These are hydrated salts. These two are hydrated salts. Okay, so next, sulfur, it also obtained in the form of sulfides. Okay, so for example, galena, that is PBS, lead sulfide, zinc blende, that is zinc sulfide, copper pyrite, that is CuFeS2. Okay, so these are the sulfides that are obtained in the earth crust. So sulfur, it obtained in the form of sulfates, sulfides, and in a hydrogen sulfide also. See children, traces of sulfur occurs as hydrogen sulfide in volcanoes. So volcanoes eruption, it gives hydrogen sulfide gas, right children? Okay, so which is having a rotten egg smell, right? So next, organic materials such as eggs, proteins, garlic, onion, mustard, hair, and wool contains sulfur. Okay, some organic materials like eggs, garlic, onions, next mustard, proteins, all these are also having sulfur. Okay, so this is about the occurrence of sulfur. Next, coming to other elements like selenium and tellurium. Selenium and tellurium are also found as metal selenides and tellurides in sulfide ores. So they are also obtained in the form of selenides and tellurides in sulfide ores. Next, polonium occurs in nature as a decay product of thorium and uranium minerals, because polonium is also a radioactive substance. So that's why it is obtained as a decay product of thorium and uranium. Next one is livermorium, is a synthetic radioactive element. So it is not obtained in the nature. So it is prepared in the laboratory. Okay, right children? So this is about the occurrence of 16 group elements. Now coming to atomic properties, in that electronic configuration. So most important one, electronic configuration. You know that the 16 group elements, the general electronic configuration is NS2 NP4. So children, how many valence electrons they are having? 2 plus 4, that is 6 electrons. The elements of group 16 have 6 electrons in the outermost shell. Okay, now let us see them atomic numbers and electronic configuration of 16 group elements. Oxygen atomic number is 8. So sulfur 16, selenium 34, tellurium 52, polonium 84. So children, so no need to remember the atomic number of all these elements. You can easily calculate the atomic number of other elements if you know the atomic number of first element. So suppose if you know the atomic number of oxygen, if you add 8 to it, then what happens? You will get 16 atomic number of another element. Okay, next element. So if you add 18 to this, then you will get selenium 8, 18, 18, 32. So if you add 8 to the oxygen, the atomic number, then you will get sulfur atomic number. If you add 18 to the sulfur atomic number, that is 16 plus 18 gives rise to 32. If you add 18 to the 34, you will get 52 for tellurium. And if you add 32 to polonium, you will get 84 atomic number. Like that, 8, 18, 18, 32, if you add, you will get the atomic number of remaining elements in the group, right? Now coming to the electronic configuration, oxygen atomic number is 8. So helium 2s2 2p4. So 2s2 2p4 is the outer shell electronic configuration. So next coming to sulfur, neon 3s2 3p4. But here selenium, if you consider what is the difference between sulfur and selenium, so extra it is having in the inner shell 10d electrons are present, right children? Okay, so we have seen in 15 group element also. Okay, so in selenium, when compared with sulfur, it is having extra inner 10d electrons. Next coming to tellurium, krypton 4d10 5s2 5p4. Okay, next coming to polonium. So along with noble gas inner configuration, noble gas configuration, xenon configuration, and 10d electrons in the inner shell, and in anti-penultimate shell it is having 14 F electrons. So that is the difference you have to observe here. Tellurium and polonium, extra 14 F electrons are present in the anti-penultimate shell, and whereas in case of sulfur and selenium, so extra 10d electrons are present in the inner shell, right children? So all these are belongs to 16 group. Okay, next coming to the period number. So how can you identify period number? Just simply seeing the outer shell. For oxygen, what is the outer shell? Second shell is the outer shell. So that's why it belongs to second period. And sulfur, it belongs to third period, because the third shell is the outer shell. Next, selenium, fourth period, because fourth shell is the outer shell. Similarly, for tellurium, fifth shell is the outer shells. That's why it belongs to fifth period. Next, polonium, sixth shell is the outer shell. That's why it belongs to sixth period. Like that, by observing the outer shell, we can able to say to which period that element is belongs to. Right, children? So this is about electronic configuration, group number, period number, and atomic number. Right? Next one, atomic and ionic radii. So we know that what is the distance from nucleus to the outer shell is called as atomic and ionic radii. You know that. So next, see here, atomic and ionic radii. If you see from top to bottom in your electronic configuration itself, you can observe. Okay, from top to bottom, number of shells goes on increasing. Second shell, third shell, fourth shell, fifth shell, sixth shell. Like the top to bottom, if you go on, if you move, then what happens? The number of shells goes on increasing. So once the number of shells increases, then what happens? Size of the atom increases. So this is oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. So top to bottom, if we move, then what happens? The atomic and ionic radii increases. So you can see here very clearly. So this is the graph. So if you see here, these are the elements. If you move from top to bottom, so the atomic size is given in picometers, children. PM means picometers. So top to bottom, if you move, then what happens? Atomic size increases. Okay. Oxygen is having small size and polonium is having big size, right, children? Next, coming to ionization enthalpy. So what is the ionization enthalpy? The amount of energy required to remove an electron from an isolated gaseous neutral atom is called as ionization enthalpy. We know that ionization enthalpy is inversely related to atomic size. So it means, so greater the size, then what happens? Ionization enthalpy will be less, right children? Okay, so smaller the size, then more will be the ionization enthalpy. So what is ionization enthalpy? Again, so the amount of energy that is required to remove an electron from isolated gaseous neutral atom. Okay, ionization enthalpy is inversely related to the atomic size. So greater the size, lesser will be the ionization enthalpy. So we have seen the atomic size of 16 group elements. Top to bottom atomic size increases. So then ionization enthalpy, what happens to ionization enthalpy? It is reverse of atomic size, is it not? So ionization enthalpy decreases down the group because atomic size increases down the group, right children? So ionization enthalpy decreases down the group because atomic size increases down the group, right? Next, coming to the comparison with group 15. Okay, we know that children, left to right, if you move, then what happens? Size decreases because same number of electrons add in same shell. So then what happens? Protons increases as the electrons increases. If you move from left to right, electrons increases, then protons will also increases in the nucleus. Then a nuclear charge increases, then it will hold the outer electrons tightly. So because of that, size decreases if we move from left to right in a period, right? So it means that 15 group elements are present on the left side and 16 group elements are present on right side. It means that 16 group elements are having smaller size when compared with 15 group. It means 16 group elements should consist of more ionization enthalpy, is it not? So because smaller the size, 16 group elements are having smaller size when compared with the 15 group. So they should consist of ionization enthalpy more when compared with 15 group elements. But the 16 group elements are having lower ionization enthalpy when compared with the 15 group elements. So children, don't get confused. So actually, so 16 groups should consist of more ionization enthalpy when compared with the 15 group. But here, what happens? So 16 group are having lower ionization enthalpy values than 15 group. So why? Because 15 group elements have extra stable half-filled p orbital electronic configuration. What is the electronic configuration of 15 group elements? Ns2 np3. Is it not? So in p orbital, 3 electrons are present. So 3 electrons means half-filled configuration of p orbitals. So completely filled and the half-filled orbitals electronic configuration is stable configuration. So 15 group elements are having half-filled p orbital electronic configuration. That's why they are having stable electronic configuration. That's why they are having a high ionization enthalpy when compared with the 16 group elements. Is it clear, children? It is very simple. So what is that? 15 group elements are having stable half-filled p orbital electronic configuration. So because of that, they are having high ionization enthalpy when compared with the 16 group elements. Those 16 group elements are having small size, but they are having less ionization enthalpy when compared with 15 group elements, right? Okay, next coming to, so you can see here, so ionization enthalpy of a first group elements, if you move from top to bottom, ionization enthalpy decreases. As the size increases, ionization enthalpy decreases. Oxygen is having very high ionization enthalpy in that group, is it not? Okay, so this is about ionization enthalpy of 16 group elements. Next, coming to electron gain enthalpy. So what is electron gain enthalpy? The change in the amount of energy when an electron is added to an isolated gaseous atom is called electron gain enthalpy. So children, here change in the amount, we are saying here change in the amount of energy. So the change may be increase or decrease, means energy may absorb or energy may release. If energy is released, then it will be negative. If energy is absorbed, then it is positive. So if you see here, these are the electron gain enthalpies of 16 group elements, is it not? So they are having the negative value. It means, so if you add an electron to isolated gaseous atoms of 16 group elements, so energy is released. So that is an exothermic process. Energy is released. Why here energy is releasing? Because they are having Ns2 Np4 configuration. So it means they required 2 electrons to get noble gas configuration. What is the noble gas configuration? Ns2 Np6 is the noble gas configuration. But what is the 16 group electronic configuration? Ns2 Np4. If they gain 2 electrons, they will get noble gas configuration. Here we are in electron gain enthalpy, we are adding 1 electron to it. So what they will do? They will accept that electron easily. So that's why here electron gain enthalpy is negative for 16 group elements. Okay, so one more thing, very important thing you have to observe here. Actually, electron gain enthalpy is also inversely related to the atomic size. As the size increases, electron gain enthalpy decreases. So you can see here 195, 190, 174 decrease. You can able to 200, 195, 190, 174. You can able to see that decrease here. But when compared with oxygen and sulfur, here oxygen should consist of more when compared with sulfur. But here sulfur is having more electron gain enthalpy when compared with oxygen. Very, very important point, children, here. What is that? Oxygen is having less electron gain enthalpy when compared with the sulfur, though size of the oxygen is small. Actually, electron gain enthalpy, it should be inversely related to the atomic size. So oxygen should consist of more when compared with sulfur, but here sulfur is having more when compared with oxygen. So what is the reason? Reason is the oxygen is very small in size because of compact size, small size. If you add one electron, it cannot hold. Already it is having um, 6 electrons in the outer shell, means total 8 electrons are present, 2 electrons in the first shell and 6 electrons in the outer shell. If you add one more electron, then what happens? There will be a repulsion because of a small size. Because of small size, if you add one electron to oxygen atom, then what happens? There will be repulsion. Okay, so because of that, it will not easily accept. Okay, whereas in case of sulfur, sulfur is having neither too small size not too big size. If the big suppose polonium is having big size, so if you add one electron, it cannot easily take because the nucleus is very far from the outer shell, so it cannot easily hold that given electron, is it not? Whereas in case of sulfur, the size is neither too small not too big, so that's why if you give one electron to it, so it will easily accept. So because of that, electron gain enthalpy of oxygen is more when compared with sulfur is more when compared with oxygen. Again, I'm repeating, children. Actually, electron gain enthalpy should be inversely related to the atomic size. So atomic size top to bottom increases. So electron gain enthalpy should also should decrease. But here, in case of oxygen and sulfur, sulfur is having more because for compact size of oxygen. So oxygen is having very small size. If you give one electron, then what happens? There will be repulsion. So that's why it will not easily accept that electron. Whereas sulfur, it is having neither too small size, not too big size. So that's why if you add one electron to it, it easily accepts that electron. So that's why it is having high negative electron gain enthalpy. So these things you have to remember, children, in electron gain enthalpy. Next, coming to electronegativity. What is electronegativity? The ability of an atom to attract the bond pair of electrons towards it is called as electronegativity. So this electronegativity is also inversely related to the atomic size. So you know that top to bottom atomic size increases, is it not? So then electronegativity decreases, you know. So next to fluorine, oxygen has the highest electronegativity value amongst the elements. Okay, fluorine is having in Pauling scale 4.0 value. It is having high value of electronegativity. After fluorine, oxygen is the highest electronegative element. Okay, so top to bottom electronegativity decreases because atomic size increases. Atomic size is also increasing and atomic number is also increasing. So this implies that a metallic character increases from oxygen to polonium. As electronegativity decreases, then metallic character increases, right, children? Okay, so this is about electronegativity. Next, coming to physical properties. So in atomic properties, what we have discussed: electronic configuration and atomic and ionic radii, next electronegativity and electron gain enthalpy, ionization enthalpy. So these things we have discussed. Next, coming to the physical properties. So physical properties of 16 group elements: oxygen and sulfur are non-metals, selenium and tellurium are metalloids, whereas the polonium is a metal. Because just now only we have discussed electronegativity decreases from top to bottom, so then metallic character increases from top to bottom. Next, polonium is a radioactive element. Already we have discussed this. All these elements exhibit allotropy. So oxygen, it exists in O2 and ozone, okay, O3. And sulfur, it forms rhombic sulfur and monoclinic sulfur, like that. So these elements exhibit different allotropic forms. Okay. So the melting and boiling points increases with increase in the atomic number down the group. So if you move from top to bottom, atomic number increases. So atomic mass also increases. Because of that, melting and boiling points also increases. Next one, oxygen exists as a diatomic molecule, whereas sulfur exists as a polyatomic molecule, that is S8. Right, children? So these are the physical properties. Now you can see all these things, whatever the points that we have discussed till now, all are included in this table. You can see atomic number of 16 group elements. So oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. So 8, 16, 34, 52, 84. And their atomic masses and electronic configuration and the covalent radius. So top to bottom, what happens? Covalent radii and ionic radii also increases because number of shells goes on increases when we move from top to bottom. Next, electron gain enthalpy. It is inversely related to atomic size. But here one thing you have to observe, so the oxygen is having sulfur is having more electron gain enthalpy when compared with oxygen, because oxygen is having very compact size, small size. So because of that, it will not easily accept the electron, whereas sulfur is having neither too small size nor big size, so that easily accepts electron. So that's why sulfur is having high electron gain enthalpy when compared with oxygen, right? Next, ionization enthalpy. It is inversely related to the ionic size, because ionic and atomic and ionic size. So ionization enthalpy, it is decreases because atomic and ionic radii increases from top to bottom. Next one, electronegativity is also inversely related to atomic size. So top to bottom, if you move, electronegativity also decreases, right? Next, so density increases because atomic mass is increasing from top to bottom. Melting and boiling points also increases because atomic mass is increases from top to bottom. So these are the oxidation states we'll discuss in detail, children. Now, see, now coming to the chemical properties. So in that, oxidation states and trends in chemical reactivity we'll discuss first. So now see here, children, the stability of -2 oxidation state decreases down the group because electronegativity decreases from top to bottom. So that's why oxygen is, after fluorine, oxygen is most electronegative element. So it shows -2 oxidation state. Okay, but when it combines with the fluorine, like OF2, so it is the compound of oxygen and fluorine, OF2. So when with the fluorine, it shows +2 oxidation state. Otherwise, with all other elements, oxygen shows -2 oxidation state only because it is highly electronegative when compared with fluorine after fluorine, right, children? Next, other elements of the group exhibit +2, +4, and +6 oxidation states, but +4 and +6 are more common. So the stability of +6 oxidation state decreases down the group, and stability of +4 oxidation state increases. So children, in 15 group elements also we have discussed why higher oxidation states from top to bottom, the stability of higher oxidation states decreases because of inert pair effect. So I want to revise inert pair effect now once again. In 15 group elements also we have discussed. So now see, what is inert? In higher elements that we have seen in polonium, in tellurium, we have seen extra 10 d electrons and inner 10 d electrons, and anti-penultimate shell which is having 14 electrons in polonium, right? So in a higher elements, what happens? Poor shielding effect will occur. Okay, so because of this poor shielding effect, so these electrons that are present in s orbital, because s orbital is more oriented towards the nucleus. So the reluctance of NS2 electrons to take part in bonding due to the poor shielding effect of intervening d orbitals on moving down the group is known as inert pair effect. So NS2 NP4 is the outer shell electronic configuration. The two electrons are present in the s orbital. They are more attracted towards the nucleus in higher elements because of poor shielding effect. Why this poor shielding effect is occurring? Because they are having in inner shell 10d electrons, and in anti-penultimate shell they are having 14f electrons, is it not? So because of those electrons, nuclear charge also increases. So poor shielding effect, it occurs poor shielding effect. So because of that poor shielding effect, the electrons which are present in the s orbital, because s orbital is more oriented towards the nucleus, so they will not participate in the formation of oxidation state. So that's why +6 oxidation state stability is decreases from top to bottom, and +4 oxidation state stability increases from top to bottom. Means in a higher element hardly they show +6 oxidation state. Okay, so because of this inert pair effect, children. Okay, next, coming to anomalous behavior of oxygen. You know, children, second period elements shows anomalous behavior. So in a 16 group element, oxygen is in second period, right? So that's why it behave differently. Why it behave differently? Because of its small size and high electronegativity. So what is the different behavior because of the small size and electronegativity? We can see typical example, that is a H2O and H2S. If you consider in H2O, there is a strong hydrogen bond is present, whereas in case of H2S, there is no such a type of hydrogen bonding, because oxygen is more electronegative and small size. So because of that, in between H2O molecules, there will be hydrogen bond. Okay, strong hydrogen bond. That's why, you know, children, top to bottom, if you consider hydrates of the 16 group elements, if you consider atomic molecular mass increases when compared with H2O. H2S is having more molecular mass, but H2S is a gas and H2O is a liquid at room temperature. Why it is like that? Because of these strong hydrogen bonds. Though molecular mass of H2O is more when compared with H2S, so H2O is a liquid at room temperature because of these strong hydrogen bonds. Why these strong hydrogen bonds are present in H2O? Because oxygen is having small size and high electronegativity, right, children? So one more enormous behavior of oxygen is not having d orbital, because it outer shell is the second shell is the outer shell. So d orbital starts from third shell, is it not? So oxygen is not having d orbital. That's why it cannot extend its covalency more than 4. Hardly it shows 4. So actually, in general, it shows 2 only. So other elements, if you consider sulfur and other elements, selenium, tellurium, other elements of 16 group, they can able to extend their covalency more than 4. For example, inert sulfur is combined with the 6 fluorines, is it not? So whereas in case of oxygen, it cannot extend its covalency more than 4 because of the absence of d orbitals. Okay? So these are the anomalous behavior of oxygen. Next, coming to reactivity with the hydrogen. So these elements, they combine with the hydrogen, they form hydrates of 2E, because the hydrogen valency is 1 and E is nothing but elements of 16 group elements. So what are the 16 group elements? E means oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. So they form which type of hydrates? H2E type of hydrates. Okay, because the hydrogen valence is 1 and the 16 group elements valence is 2. So H2E type of hydrates they will form. So now see, children, the acidic character increases from H2O to H2T. Okay. So hydrate of tellurium to oxygen of a hydrate of oxygen, if you consider, that is H2O to H2T. So acidic character increases. So what will be the reason? Because you know that, children, from top to bottom atomic size increases. As atomic size increases, then what happens? Bond length will also increases. So where in case of OH bond, TeH bond will be more, is it not? Because Te is having bigger size when compared with oxygen. So from top to bottom, if you consider, so bond length increases. Once bond length increases, then what happens? Bond dissociation enthalpy decreases. More the bond length and lesser will be the bond dissociation enthalpy. So because of that, H2Te means tellurium hydrate, it can able to give H plus ions easily when compared with
You can conclude, madam.
right, children? Because the bond dissociation enthalpy for H2Te is less, so it can able to give easily H plus ion. The substance which gives easily H plus ion is more acidic in nature. So because of that, from top to bottom, if you move H2O to H2Te, acidic character increases. Is that clear, children? Again, I'm repeating. From oxygen to polonium, if you move from top to bottom, atomic size increases. As atomic size increases, then what happens? Bond length between OH2, TeH, the bond length will also increases. Once the bond length increases, bond dissociation enthalpy decreases. Means to break that bond, less energy is required. So then what happens? H2Te, it gives easily H plus ion. The substance which gives easily H plus ion is more acidic in nature. So that's why from top to bottom, if you move in hydrates of the 16 group elements, acidic character increases, right, children? So you have to remember these points. Next, coming to the thermal stability of hydrates decreases. Same reason. Here also from oxygen to polonium, atomic size increases. Because of that, bond length between H and that element will also increases. Bond length increases means bond dissociation enthalpy decreases. So once the bond dissociation enthalpy decreases means stability, thermal stability. If you heat it, then what happens? Easily a bond between this element and the hydrogen, easily it breaks, is it not? So that's why stability decreases from top to bottom. Same reason you can write here. Okay, all the hydrates except
You can
water
conclude, madam.
reducing property, and this character increases from H2S to H2Te. So same reason here also, children, the reducing property means they can able to give hydrogen. Okay, top to bottom, if you move, then what happens? The size increases, bond length increases. Because of that, bond dissociation enthalpy decreases. So easily they can give hydrogen. So that's why reducing property increases from top to bottom in the hydrates of the 16 group.
You can conclude, madam.
Clear, children? So points, same reason for all the three properties you can able to write: thermal stability, and then acidic nature, thermal stability, and then reducing character. All these things depends upon the bond length, bond dissociation enthalpy, and atomic size of these elements, right, children? Same reason you can able to write for all the three cases, right? So properties of hydrates of group 16 elements. So just now only we have seen, as the molecular mass increases, melting and boiling points increases, but H2O is having more melting and boiling point. What will be the reason? Just now only we have discussed. So here strong hydrogen bonds are present. So because of that, H2O, though it is having molecular mass is less when compared with these H2S, it is having high melting and boiling points. So why H2? There is a hydrogen bond between the molecules of H2O, because oxygen is small in size and high electronegative. So because of that, strong hydrogen bonds are present between the molecules. So though when compared with H2S, it is having molecular mass less, but melting and boiling points are more, right? Next one is He distance, means bond length. See, children, bond length, as the atomic size increases, oxygen to polonium. So then what happens? Bond distance also increases. So once bond distance increases, then bond dissociation enthalpy. This is the bond dissociation enthalpy. Bond dissociation enthalpy decreases. Okay, children. So bond distance increases, means bond length increases, bond dissociation enthalpy decreases. So these things you have to remember in hydrates of 16 group elements. Now coming to the reactivity with the oxygen. So these 16 group elements, when they react with the oxygen, they form two types of oxides, EO2 and EO3. What is E? E is nothing but 16 group elements, sulfur, selenium, tellurium or polonium, because here oxide reaction with oxygen we are discussing. That's why sulfur, selenium, tellurium and polonium we are considering in case of E, right? So they form which type of oxides? EO2, EO3 type of oxides they can form. So let us consider EO2 type of oxides. So when oxygen combines with the O2 gives O3, that is called ozone, and sulfur dioxide, SO2. When sulfur combines with the oxygen, sulfur dioxide, SO2, and while selenium dioxide, SeO2. So such type of EO2 type of oxides they can able to form. So ozone and sulfur dioxides are gases, whereas selenium dioxide is a solid. Next, reducing property of dioxides decreases from SO2 to TeO2, whereas SO2 is reducing while TuO2 is a oxidizing agent. Reducing agent means it reduces itself and oxidizes another species, and tellurium oxide is a oxidizing agent, right children? So besides EO2 type, sulfur, selenium and tellurium form EO3 type of oxides also, means 3 atoms of oxygen. So SO3, SeO3, TeO3. So children, all the type of means EO2 and EO3 type of oxides are having acidic in nature. All these oxides, EO2, EO3 type of oxides are having which nature? Acidic nature only. Okay, comparison, if you compare EO2 to EO3, so in EO3, so oxidation state is more, so that's why EO3 type are having more acidic when compared with EO2 and EO3 type will have more acidic character, more the oxidation state, more will be the acidic nature of that oxide. Okay, so these things you have to remember in case of reactivity with oxygen. Next, coming to reactivity towards the halogens. So when 16 group elements, when they combine with the halogen, they form 3 type of halides, EX2, EX4 and EX6 type of halides they can able to form. So now the stability of these halides decreases in the order. F minus is more stable when compared with Cl minus, Br minus and I minus. Fluoride, chloride, bromide and iodide. Okay, fluoride is greater than chloride, chloride is greater than bromide, bromide is greater than iodide. So this is the stability of these halides. Next, coming to let us consider EX6 type. So EX6, if you consider, so hexafluorides are more stable. Okay, only stable halides. EX6 means halogen, X means halogen, E means 16 group elements. So if you consider in case of halogens means 17 group elements, fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine. If you consider in that fluorides, hexafluorides are more stable. For example, SF6, we know SF6. Okay, so hexafluorides have sp3d2 hybridization, means 1 s orbital, 3 p orbitals and 2 d orbitals. They overlap and they give sp3d2 hybridization and the shape octahedral structure. Okay, you can see here children. So SF6 is an example for hexafluorides, sulfur hexafluoride. So in sulfur hexafluoride, sulfur is the central atom. It undergoes sp3d2 hybridization and shape is octahedral shape, right children? So angle is 90 degrees. Next, tetrafluorides. So tetrafluorides have sp3d hybridization, okay, and have trigonal bipyramidal structure. sp3d hybridization means trigonal bipyramidal structure, but because of presence of lone pair of electron, so one of the equatorial position is occupied by one lone pair of electrons. So this geometry is called as a seesaw structure. You can see here children. So in this case, so this is the sulfur tetrafluoride. In case of sulfur tetrachloride, it undergoes sp3d hybridization. So it should consist of trigonal bipyramidal structure. But here one of the equatorial position is occupied by lone pair of electrons. Because of lone pair bond pair repulsion, the structure is a seesaw structure. So this is called as a seesaw structure, right children? So next coming to Dihalides. Dihalides undergo sp3 hybridization and they should consist of tetrahedral structure. But due to the presence of two lone pair of electrons, shape is bent shape. You can see here. So here, so SL2 SCl2 in case of sulfur dichloride. So sulfur undergoes sp3 hybridization, means tetrahedral structure it should consist, but because of these two lone pairs, lone pair repulsion and lone pair bond pair repulsion, it gets a bent shape. Okay, children. Next, the monohalides, they can also form monohalides that like SF, SCl, SBr, SCCl, like that. But these monohalides, they are existing as a dimer form. Okay, dimer means two molecules combined to give S2F2, S2Cl2, S2Br2, SCCl2 and SeBr2. Like that, they exist as a dimeric in nature. Okay, so you can see here dimeric halides undergo disproportionation reaction. What is disproportionation reaction, children? So one element in one oxidation state, simultaneously it undergo its oxidation state it decreases and increases. For example, if you consider Se2Cl2 is gives rise to SeCl4 plus 3Se. In Se2Cl2, what is the oxidation state of selenium? That is +1. Whereas in case of SeCl4, it is +4. And in Se, that is in elemental form, oxidation state is 0. So +1 to +4, so oxidation state is increased. +1 to 0, oxidation state is decreased. So what is disproportionation reaction? So the reaction in which the element in one oxidation state its oxidation number increases and decreases. So in Se2Cl2 +1 is the oxidation state, and in SeCl4 +4 is the oxidation state. In Se, it is an element, oxidation state is 0. So +1 to +4, increase in oxidation number, +1 to 0, decrease in oxidation number. Simultaneously increase and decrease in oxidation number of an element in a reaction. That reaction is called as disproportionation reaction. So dimeric halides, they undergo disproportionation reactions. So this is about the 16 group elements when they combine with the halides, right? A halogen. Okay, so they form EX2, EX4 and EX6 type of halides. So this is about SO4 already we have seen, and this is SCl2. Okay, so I think children, these are the things that we have covered. Now let us see what are the things that we have discussed. Occurrence in that oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, how they occur in nature that we have discussed. Oxygen is the most abundant element in the earth crust. Now, already we have discussed all these things. Atomic properties in that electronic configuration. NS2NP4 is the general electronic configuration of these 16 group elements. They are having 6 electrons in the outer shell. Okay, so next, atomic and ionic radii, top to bottom, number of shells increases. So because of that, atomic and ionic radii increases from top to bottom. Ionization enthalpy, the amount of energy that is required to remove an electron from an isolated gaseous neutral atom. So it is inversely related to the atomic size. So top to bottom atomic size increases, ionization enthalpy decreases. Electron gain enthalpy. So this is the change in the enthalpy when an electron is added to a isolated neutral atom. So electron gain enthalpy is also inversely related to the atomic size, but in case of oxygen and sulfur, we should be very careful because sulfur is having more electron gain enthalpy when compared with oxygen. Because of compact size of oxygen, it is having less, whereas sulfur is having neither too small size nor too big size. That's why electron gain enthalpy of sulfur is more when compared with oxygen. Next, electron negativity. This is inversely related to atomic size. Top to bottom atomic size increases, so electronegativity decreases. So after fluorine, oxygen is having more electronegativity value. Next, physical properties we have discussed. Oxygen and sulfur are non-metal, selenium, tellurium are metalloids, and polonium is a metal. So physical properties we have discussed. Chemical properties, oxidation states we have discussed. Oxygen shows -2 oxidation state. Other elements they can able to show 4 plus 6 plus 2 also. So top to bottom plus 6 oxidation state decreases and plus 4 oxidation state stability increases because of inert pair effect. Next, reactivity towards hydrogen. So they form H2E type of hydrates. So reactivity towards oxygen, they can able to form two types of oxides, EO2, EO3 type of oxides they can able to form. Next, reactivity towards halogens, they react with the halogen, they can form EX2, EX3, EX4 and EX6 type of halides they can able to form. So these things we have discussed, children. So I hope you have understood well. So we can continue remaining topics in the next session. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Madhavi Madam.
Thank you, sir.
You have given an excellent webinar session on the 16th group elements.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I am Srinivas, coordinator. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Hi, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.